Before the pandemic, Southeast Asian tourism sites were bursting at the seams. The slowdown presents a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to deconstruct the travel industry. Stakeholders are now pushing for sustainable tourism with growth that'll not come at the expense of the well-being of the people and the planet. Here in Thailand, a country that's highly dependent on tourism knows it all too well. Thailand shut down some of its natural sites during the slowdown in order to allow nature to recuperate, because it knows there is no planet B. Here in Koh Tao, the residents too are chipping in to do their part. Nature sure knows how to impress. And this is just a tip of the beauty that lies beneath. Over the last 2 years since COVID-19 hit, tourism in Thailand took a beating with virtually no foreign visitors. On the flip side, however, nature was given a breather. The coral reefs here around Koh Tao Island, known for being a popular diving spot, had a vacation of their own with hardly any divers. Previously, during tourism high season, Koh Tao, a 2-hour boat ride from Koh Samui, would receive about 600,000 visitors annually. Most would travel to Koh Tao, known as Turtle Island, just to dive. Because of the large number of divers, the corals were either damaged by amateur divers, snorkelers who would step on them, or some who may think that touching the corals are acceptable. But when the pandemic kept tourists away, the local islanders ramped up their efforts to help some of the previously damaged corals to regrow and thrive. Moving forward, they hope the returning tourists would also be taught how to better cherish the natural environment and participate in such conservation efforts.
เพราะว่าบางครั้งปะการังชิ้นเล็กๆบางครั้งตอนอยู่บนพื้นทรายมันช่วยเหลือตัวเองไม่ได้เกิดถ้ามีทรายกลบตรงนั้นพื้นมันก็ตายแต่ว่าถ้าเราไปช่วยมันเอาขึ้นมาแล้วไปปลูกมามัดกับอะไรที่ถาวรมันก็ทำให้มันโอกาสรอดคือเกิดขึ้นมาได้หลังจากทุกคนได้เรียนรู้และปลูกปะการังเป็นมันจะเกิดความผูกพันมันจะเกิดการรับผิดชอบผูกพันรับผิดชอบและมีความรู้สึกหวงแหนในสิ่งที่เราทำมา
The Koh Tao authorities and diving operators hope to introduce official coral conservation courses, such as teaching people how to identify dead corals or young corals that can be saved. It's absolutely gorgeous down under. I went down about 10 to 15 meters, not too deep, but it's still very beautiful. 5 years ago, I've been told that if I were to dive right down here in the same spot, I would not see any corals. And most of the corals that I see would have been destroyed. I would only be able to see sand. But 5 years later now, I'm actually able to enjoy and see some of the beautiful and colorful corals down below. That's because men have helped to rehabilitate the corals and to help them regrow. That's why it's so important to make sure that we don't destroy the nature and also be really respectful when we dive.
ทรัพยากรธรรมชาติของเราก็คือปะการังห่วงปลาแล้วก็โลกใต้ทะเลเราขายธรรมชาติถ้าเราไม่ดูแลธรรมชาติเราก็ไม่มีอะไรที่จะเอาไปขายนะฮะแล้วเราก็ต้องสร้างขึ้นมาด้วยทรัพยากรธรรมชาติถ้าเราไปย่ำยีมันเยอะเกินไปมันก็ย่อมที่จะมีการเสื่อมสลายนะครับแล้วจากการที่เราท่องเที่ยวแบบไม่มีเวลาพักผ่อนนะครับมันการฟื้นตัวของมันก็จะเสียเวลา
Band's Diving Resort has been around for almost 30 years on Koh Tao. As one of the biggest and longest running resorts on the island, it doesn't just organize diving trips for tourists. It's also a leader in recycling and conservation efforts. As an island, it knows it has no space to store all the rubbish, and water is also scarce as they have to buy them from mainland. The resort came up with various projects to reuse, reduce, and recycle anything and everything possible. As a new Koh Tao mayor, Wachirin Fasiripon knows too well that the island cannot afford to take the environment for granted. Everything that the island does or doesn't do will have a direct impact on the survival of Koh Tao.
ระยะเวลาประมาณ 8 ปีขยะกองอยู่ประมาณ 40,000 ถึง 50,000 ตันยิ่งกว่าภูเขาอีกทำให้เกิดภาวะมลพิษขึ้นมาหนึ่งเรื่องของแก๊สนะครับที่เป็นมลพิษสัตว์ดำโรคนะครับก็ทำให้เกิดปัญหาต่อพื้นที่ฝนตกลงมาน้ำที่ชะล้างจากขยะที่อยู่ข้างบนเขาเนี่ยไหลลงน้ำทะเลก็เป็นปัญหาต่อมลพิษทางทะเลฉะนั้นถ้าว่าเราไม่มีวิธีการกำจัดขยะที่ดีขึ้นมาเกาะนี้นิดเดียวพื้นที่ที่ทิ้งขยะมีอยู่แค่ 4 ไร่ล้นเกาะแน่ครับ
Mayor Wachirin is therefore taking a bold step with plans to introduce an entrance fee to Koh Tao sometime this year. All who visit Koh Tao will soon have to pay around 20 Thai baht or less than $1 per person.
เอาเงินส่วนนั้นมาบริหารจัดการและดูแลเรื่องสิ่งแวดล้อมให้เกาะเต่าสิ่งแวดล้อมทั้งทางทะเลและทางบกก็คือทางทะเลอาจจะมีการพวกสมทบทุนในการทำเชือกสมอปลูกทุ่นเรือนะครับวางกำหนดแนวจุดดำน้ำถ้าหากว่าเราทำบ้านไม่ดีทำบ้านพังใครอยากจะมาล่ะครับ
Visiting Koh Tao and returning to the island multiple times is exactly what the Tourism Business Association wants to see. With more than 200 businesses on the island, the tourism dollar is vital to keep the enterprises afloat. But the entrepreneurs know they need to be more far-sighted when it comes to ensuring a constant flow of tourists.
ถ้าคิดแต่ว่าจะกอบโกยอย่างเดียวมันก็ไม่ยั่งยืนเราอาจจะได้นักท่องเที่ยวเข้ามาช่วงระยะหนึ่งแต่ว่าทรัพยากรธรรมชาติของเรามันก็หายไปหลังจากนี้ก็ไม่มีนักท่องเที่ยวที่ไหนกลับมาเยือนเกาะเต่าอีกเราต้องทำยังไงก็ได้ให้ผู้ประกอบการเข้าใจในสิ่งนี้ค่ะ
Businesses on Koh Tao are on board with ensuring the island stands out from other competing tourist destinations across Thailand. That's why they hope local authorities can chip in to not just promote diving trips in Koh Tao, but other nature-oriented activities like rock climbing and hiking to make the island renowned for all things natural. A clean city and a completely green city with only electric vehicles plying the streets. The mayor of Koh Tao hopes to achieve this within 10 years. These ambitious plans are not only meant to attract the foreign visitors to this island. More importantly, it's vital for the 10,000 residents living here. The city knows it has limited natural resources and the time to act is now. And it wants to serve as a role model for other islands in Thailand.
The pandemic and the subsequent lockdowns have led many countries to discover new and exciting ecotourism activities and reconnect with nature. Now, Malaysia too has big plans for ecotourism, but just how sustainable are they? Well, environmentalists said more needs to be done to ensure its sustainability, and we all have a role to play.
Situated in Ululangat, about an hour drive from the capital Kuala Lumpur, the Willow Tree campsite offers not just cool, fresh mountain air, but magnificent views over one of the oldest mountain ranges in Peninsular Malaysia.
Here we are. Wow, check this out. We are surrounded by a sea of clouds. Dennis, do we get this view every day?
Every morning we get this view from about 6:30 when the sun rises at 7 o'clock we see this, and then about 9 o'clock, 8:30, 9 o'clock it tends to rise. So this morning it's hanging around longer than normal, but yes, it's like this every morning.
So, but what's the temperature like?
It's around about 22, 23 degrees, so it's a bit cooler up here than down the bottom.
This campsite has gone the extra mile to be environmentally sustainable. While it's off-grid, which means that there's no power supply on site, but clean running water is pumped up from a nearby river using non-fossil fuel powered pump to minimize pollution. Lights and fans are powered by solar energy, while the campfire wood is sourced from licensed sustainable harvester. Some of the facilities on site are built by local indigenous community using locally sourced materials like bamboos and rattan.
They walk away with a better appreciation of nature and their part in it as well, because I think sustainable tourism is not just about what we do, but it's about how our guests do as well.
Not only the campsite is pet-friendly, it also seeks to educate campers on good recycling practices, such as how to convert food waste into compost. For about $180, you can have this whole place for an overnight camping experience, complete with your own kitchen and private toilet and shower. It caters for a single group of up to 12 people.
There are many budget levels in campsites in Malaysia. We're probably at the higher end for here, but we do it for groups. So, you know, it's a different thing, and obviously we have some magnificent views, and it's a single group situation for the hilltop. But you can camp very cheaply in Malaysia.
And pitching a tent is really a breeze these days, he said, as he's about to show me a first-time camper.
Is that it?
And that's it.
To build a tent, to pitch one? So how long it takes to pitch a tent?
This tent, Melissa, about 10 minutes.
That's all?
That's
10
all.
minutes?
Yep.
Okay, let's pick a good spot.
Okay.
Here's a good spot?
Here's a good spot.
Under the durian tree?
Yeah, it's not in season, so it's safe today. But yeah, in season, not a good idea. Roll that out.
The tent is super light and parts snap up easily. Voila, my tent is ready in less than 5 minutes.
And we're done.
And you don't want your tent to fly away.
No.
You have to make sure it's fastened, pitch it.
Pegs are hampered in 4 corners just to be safe. If camping is not for you, then there's always glamping, an outdoor camping with amenities and comforts. One such facility is located in the northern tip of Penang Island. It's an ecotourism resort that promotes healthy and sustainable lifestyle. Campers are invited to meditate and participate in Malay traditional exercise called Senaman Melayu in lush tropical rainforests. Meals are served straight from its organic farm.
Once they already blend with the nature, you know, when they meditate, they do this kind of exercise that can detox themselves. This is what we call heal without healing. You heal yourself without you realize it. So this is a natural approach towards your life and also health.
Now, the pandemic and the subsequent lockdowns have led many countries to discover new and exciting ecotourism activities and reconnect with nature.
So we use this tourism under the ecotourism concept to empower the tourists on the nature, importance of nature, because we current generation, especially the youth, Z and whatever generation we call, they are disconnected with the nature. So we must take this opportunity to reconnect back them to the nature.
Cik Mahira Abdullah of Tanah Tara could not agree more. Her sprawling estate with centuries-old Malay and Javanese houses surrounded by lush greeneries just outside of Kuala Lumpur in Ulu Langat offers unique experience in Malay culture and traditions.
I think it's really important to celebrate what we have around us, the people we have around us, you know, the resources, the land, the wind, the air, the sunshine we have around us. And people, you know, will only look after what they love and value. And it all comes down to values. When you value and respect and love what you have, then you are more inclined to look after it, to protect it, to sustain it.
Now, while living in harmony with nature is key to sustainability, so too is preserving our priceless cultural tradition, she said.
Now here, travelers can immerse themselves in the traditional way of life of the local Temuan community. Fancy living in this chalet made 100% of bamboo.
Ethnic Temuan Azroy Abba said there are many skillful builders and weavers in his village.
Sebab hasil ni memang boleh sampai bila-bila. Nenek moyang pun sampai cucu cecet lah kita orang boleh jual benda ni.
Cultural conservation is part and parcel of sustainable tourism. Now, this includes the many heritage buildings. There are architectural wonders, such as this 250-year-old Joglo house with its ornate hand carvings.
These are the buildings that our ancestors lived in and everything, and this is what identifies us. So sustainability is about our children and our grandchildren and the world, the legacy we will leave them. And I hope to leave this legacy with Tanah Tara.
Now indeed, sustainable tourism is the way to go. But in order for it to thrive, all of us need to do our part to restore and maintain the delicate balance in our ecosystem, starting with respecting our cultural heritage and the environment before losing more of what we care about.
Tourism activities in Indonesia are almost entirely nature-based, which have major consequences for environmental sustainability. The pandemic period has presented a new dawn for Indonesia's tourism blueprint. One suggestion is to change its focus on tourist numbers to sustainable tourism that focuses on quality tourism while oriented toward environmental sustainability. And one of the initiatives is to develop tourism villages across the archipelago.
Located a little over 70 kilometers from Jakarta in West Java's Bogor Regency, Batulayang village is made up of 22 neighborhood units. Against a backdrop of rolling hills, cool air, and 460 hectares of forest area. Recognizing the potential in views like these, preparations began as early as 2007, and Batulayang Tourist Village was officially established in 2014, using 2 neighborhood units, in an attempt to lure tourists whom they hoped would want to spend money in exchange for a quick getaway from the city, which in turn could support the welfare of the village's 10,000 residents. 29-year-old Palahudin is one such resident. Born and raised in Batulayang village, Kang Palet, as he is called by friends, previously used to help village elders by clearing parts of the forest. But after interacting with tourists as a guide, he has never looked back.
Sukanya interaksi dengan orang-orang yang baru kayak gitu. Tidak satu tok orang itu doang gitu, tapi setiap hari itu dengan orang-orang yang baru gitu. Dari penghasilan juga itu ada perubahannya. Yang tadinya mendapatkan 50.000 upahnya sekarang jadi kalau ini ya hampir 200.000 kayak gitu.
Visitors to the village can participate in a wide range of activities, including outbound adventure on an ATV, staying in a newly set up glamping facility, and swimming in a river, among many others. Meals throughout the tourist village are prepared and served by residents who work in shifts, and ensuring that the tourist village is always clean, it really is a collaborative effort. All of these activities involve at least 75% of the people from 300 families that live in the 2 neighborhood units making up the tourist village. In 2019, the village made over $100,000 from renting out accommodation alone. While the needs of the tourist plots are prioritized, the village income is ultimately allocated according to the requirements of the entire village.
Sosialisasi tetap dilakukan untuk menyampaikan kepada masyarakat bahwa dari sisi pariwisata ini bisa menghasilkan nilai uang itu. Pola masyarakat itu berbeda ya, persepsi masyarakat itu berbeda. Ada yang udah merasa nyaman dengan apa yang dia laksanakan sehingga tidak perlu adanya dari sisi pariwisata itu gitu. Ada yang tingkat keegoisannya tinggi juga wajar.
Prior to the pandemic, between 500 and 600 domestic tourists would visit every month. It's now been 5 months since the tourist village reopened, and the number of visitors has reduced by 80%. Its once popular homestay option suspended temporarily. But the pandemic has only pushed residents to innovate and find new ways to bring income. This group of women, led by artisan Nur Seri, learned how to crochet and sell their products online. Doing this helped them to stay afloat.
Kita bentuknya jadi online gitu kan. Nah, jadi yang punya karya-karya kayak begini, kita juga sama. Jadi ininya dikirim. Untuk souvenirnya itu dikirim. Tuh dibandingkan kalau setelah pandemi itu tamu jarang yang nginep di homestay. Tapi pemilik homestay yang bisa merajut, bisa menitipkan barang-barang hasil karyanya di galeri, jadi bisa terjual. Dan suka ada pemesanan khusus juga.
Artificial plants, tea sets, mask connectors, water bottle sleeves, caps, and more. These are just some of the items sold here, not only to visitors, but online as well. Prices start as little as 35 cents for a mask connector, while the most expensive bag has sold for about $35 US.
The women have found other ways to innovate as well, like teaching visitors how to upcycle trash, turning used coffee and detergent packaging into mats and accessories. Indonesia's tourism ministry has been looking to develop and harness the country's village tourism potential since 2014, issuing a law allowing villages to form village-owned enterprises to improve the welfare of the community, giving them the authority to manage assets and increase their economic independence, developing tourism facilities, services, training locals, and providing funding. Last year, authorities reaffirmed their target, hoping to encourage social, cultural, and economic transformation of Indonesia's villages and kickstart a rebound for one of the hardest-hit industries in Indonesia by COVID-19. Batu Layang Tourist Village was recognized as one of the ministry's top 100 villages. It is also one of only 16 villages nationwide to officially be certified as a sustainable tourist village, a title that those who have worked hard on its program and operations are proud to hold.
Tidak ada lagi, khususnya di wilayah RT sini, pengangguran. Mulai dari anak mudanya. Anak mudanya ada yang jadi guide. Berkesempatan sampai ke Malaysia, ke Singapura. Terus jadi masyarakatnya juga yang tadinya, ini kan ada UMKM yang dilihat tadi gitu. Terus ada ibu-ibunya, kalau ada kunjungan banyak bikin souvenir gitu.
With over 1,800 registered tourist villages spread across Indonesia, Batu Layang serves as an example of how sustainable practices and tourism can go hand in hand.